crack my window, please, like I asked you? Seth. Alright, so this guy keeps doing this. It's kind of funny. Just go around. We're leaving some straw. It's not really easy to bail on corners, but yeah, you'll notice our yield is kind of down. I don't have tons and tons of bales, so I think part of the problem is we let it get too dry and we're not getting as much yield as we normally would. I don't know how many bales we're going to have, but usually when you're playing the game without the slow mod, there's way more bales than what we're getting right now. Of course, this stuff is not windrowed either, so we might be getting a lower yield because of that too. But as long as we have, 40 or 50 bales, we should be good. And I think we'll get out of all the fields that we have, we should be able to pull that pretty easily. All right, so we're behind the harvester. Oops. Sorry, Charlie. My front's a little longer than I realized. My nose. All right. So we're crab legging to distribute the weight, hopefully not damage the fields. It is funny how the bales come out in the same places each time, so we kind of have them lined up together. Ta-da! All right. So we're going to have out there. We're going to be bailing at a slowed pace here now because we're going to be falling right behind the harvester, but that's okay. And he's underway. Am I in his way? Nope. Okay, good. Might as well set my cruise control down to 10 because otherwise we'll be catching up to him. How many farmers do this in real life? Probably none. Let's take a look at the weather. The weather forecast for the next couple days. Yeah, no rain, man. Look at that. All machines and tools from Flegel are currently on sale for 20% off. That's cool. Don't need anything from Flegel today. But what haves? How are we doing on the 3-point engine hours, 3.1 hours? I wonder if that keeps track for real. It probably does. Try to stay left a little bit so it picks up all of the trailer. What happened, Seth? Love you so much. Oh, he's full, isn't he? Oh no, he's going around the corner, so I was in his way. That's a pretty cool looking harvester. Those Russian harvesters are pretty funny looking. Like they're heavy duty, man. Especially with that barn thing on top. It's pretty heavy. So we continue on. Like I said, if we can continue following like this, this will make it a lot easier for us to get all the stuff we need. Because then we'll be done, and we just have to go and pick the bales up, and like the whole harvest will be finished all at once. There will be times when we get behind the harvester though, because we'll have to go unload those trucks. And I'm just going to sell the, take the wheat right to market. There's no point in holding on to it. Now that's funny. The beacons don't actually flash in the mirror. Oh yeah, they do. There it is. It's twinkling. Oops. The tractor lurched ahead. Lurch. Oh. You guys remember Lurch from the Munsters? It's a TV show from the 50s, I think. It's like a black and white series. A family of monsters. Like Frankenstein's the dad and Elvira's the mom and the uncle's a vampire. And they live in the suburbs. It's kind of a funny show. It's goofy now that but it's still funny. All right, where's my... What if I go this way? Nope. Trying to find the closest vehicle to this, and none of them were. You're talking about the CPUs? That sucks. That sucks. Now, what's interesting is, well, the capacities don't match up. And you run that into a lot, but this trailer, like, I'll be able to get like 2.5 loads off of that harvester, but that last load is going to be, it's going to leave some in the harvester, so it'll be a shorter trip with that. But it's just kind of interesting how they do that. Oh, good, he stopped right at a bale. So I push the bale out of the way. Oh, and the baler. Sorry. Pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm too busy worrying about the bale and smashing into my baler. Hopefully it'll just push it out of the way. There we go. That's what I do in real life too, just smash the bale out of the way. Get out of my way. I'm ready for nights. Yeah, it's only 11 o'clock. I can't be done for the night. I gotta go for at least 10 more minutes. No, we'll record for probably a half-an-hour episode this time, and then I'll stop around 11:30. I got a little bit of farming expert I want to do. And that's that. So let's go ahead and hop in this guy and continue following the harvester. What are you doing, Mater? So I'm trying to think of any exciting stories, but there's really nothing. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on, but it's just not exciting. I did get a new radio for my airplanes. I had gotten a couple tips from weddings, and these are weddings that I did without my ex-wife, and so I was like, she always takes my tips, and I'm like, she's like, well, I need them, and I'm like, I would like to have some extra fun money, because she's just gonna spend it on booze, you know, and God knows what else, and I'm like, so I got some tips, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep these for fun, so I'm a bad boy. I kept them for myself, selfish me. Right, exactly. Right, she'd take the whole tip and not give me any. Like, hey Seth, can you really, I'm not kidding about putting that laptop away. You need to put it away. Hold on a second, Mater. So I was a bad boy and I did keep the tip, but she wasn't there anyway, so it's my tip anyway. But I took the $200 and, as I've talked to you about my radio before, hang on a second, John, please. I had a DX6i radio, for those of you that are familiar with the RC airplane world. Spectrum radios are kind of like the cheap, but like quality radios on the scene, and then you have like Fly Sky, which is like the really crappy stuff, and then you have, you know, like Futaba and some of these other companies. Futaba's been around forever, and I can't think of the name of the other company. There's another one that's huge that's been around forever. They make like professional grade RC, well, not professional grade, but like super expensive RC stuff. And anyway, I bought this DX6i. It has a 10 model memory, so you can hold up to 10 airplanes. The downside is I have like 20 airplanes, and so I have not been able to get them all on my radio because there's not enough room. And a lot of my airplanes have just kind of sat around because I don't have room on the radio for them. So like some of my older helicopters and stuff I like to fly, I don't fly anymore because I didn't have space on the radio. Then another problem last year crept up, and the issue was that my radio would reverse the aileron channel. So like if it had been off for a couple weeks, and I go back and go to fly and take off, and I lost one airplane that way. I was flying by some woods, and I took off, and it was the way the runway's set up, you take off and then you pitch left to get away from the trees, and then you fly out, and then, you know, that's how it works. So I took off, and I flipped the radio, I flipped the aircraft left using the ailerons. You know, you roll the airplane left, and the airplane rolled right. And that was the first time it happened. I hadn't experienced that before in the airplane. It was a nice, it was a Piper Cub, or I'm sorry, not a Piper Cub, it was a Piper Archer. So a low-wing aircraft, passenger plane, really nice looking airplane. Like Mark got it for me for my birthday, like I think maybe 3 years ago at this point. But it, just a gorgeous, slow-flying airplane. You could really slow that thing down, and they're discontinued, so you can't get them anymore. And so I love that airplane. That was so nice to fly on small fields, and it was just such a smooth airplane. I mean, it looked real in the sky, and I loved it. And that thing, I pressed left, and the airplane pitched right, went right into the woods, and it smashed into a million pieces, man. I was like just heartbroken. I was so sad when that airplane broke. And so anyway, that was the first victim. And then I didn't realize what happened, but I realized, I figured out that it switched, but I was like, what? About a month later, it did the same thing to one of my micros, but fortunately I was over grass when it happened, and the micros are really lightweight, they're super small. So it didn't do any damage to the micro. I did the same thing. I took off and pressed left, the airplane went right, and then I was able to actually sit down and check and see. So now, every time I fly, and you should do this anyway, but I have to check all the control surfaces and make sure that they're set up properly. And I've had it happen 3 or 4 times since then, where even during the check they're not set up properly, and I have to go back and reconfigure them so that they're right. But that's dangerous, you know. And thankfully, it never does it while you're flying. At least in the past, it hasn't. But I am concerned that at some point it will start flipping them while you're flying. So I don't know. But anyway, it's still usable as long as you check before you fly. So I was kind of like, well, I really probably should get a new radio, something that's going to be, you know, I've got a lot of big, expensive airplanes, and I don't want them getting trashed. So, you know, so I went out and bought this radio, and it came in today, and so I spent about a half an hour setting up one of my airplanes and then 2 of my little helicopters on the radio, just learning how to use the radio and how to get into the settings and configure it the way I want it. And it works really well. I'm pretty impressed on how easy it is to program. And this airplane, this radio has a 250 model memory, so I will not run out of space. I've got plenty of space for plenty of airplanes, and that's pretty exciting. So I plan on flying more, hopefully, towards the end of this year as the weather cools off, and hopefully I get more time because there's not as much going on as far as the business goes. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I did that today. So it's a DX6E is the new radio. And it was about $170, which is not cheap, but you know, you get a lot for your money with those radios. They're really well made. And like I said, except for the reversing problem. When I talked to the guys at the store or at the company that made it, they're like, we have never had that happen. And he's like, I don't know why yours is doing that, but it must just, you know, something must have happened to it that caused it to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I never dropped it or anything. It wasn't like I was rough with the radio, but it just, I seem to have some bad luck with electronics. But, you know, then again, I have my Fly Sky radios that I use for my cars. And I also have Fly Sky radios that I use for some of my airplanes. You know, the ones that don't go on there, I have these crappy, cheap, like $30 transmitters from China that take like 75 batteries to run. But they work. I've never had a problem with those ever. Like I have airplanes that have like 500-600 flights on them that have fly sky transmitters that work just fine, no problems. Never had an issue. Never had a radio cutout. They use a different type of Spectrum radios. Use their own. Like, oh, what happened? Did I hit something? Oh, I hit the fence. I didn't even see it because it's sticking right out of me. Spectrum radios use what's called DSM, DSMX, and DSM2, or DSM2 and then DSMX, I think in that order. They use this radio technology, like it's called the spectrum spread technology, and spectrum spread is its own radio frequencies. Now, the fly sky radios use what's called how does it go? FHSS or something like that, like frequency, or HFSS or something. I don't know. High frequency spread spectrum, or I don't know. It's a different name than what the Spectrum radios use, so they're not compatible with each other. But they both use 2.4 gigahertz, radio frequency technology. So anyway, but I've never had an issue with the fly skies. I have had not too many issues with that. I was using a couple orange receivers that Curtis gave me, my friend Curtis, and the orange stuff is what you buy from Hobby King. Okay, so for example, a Spectrum radio, you have the transmitter, that's the 6E that I just bought, and then you have a receiver that goes inside the airplane, and you bind them together, and then when you fly, the receiver talks to or receives signal from your transmitter, and it controls the airplane, tells the airplane what to do. And so I've had these cheap, like $10 orange receivers from Hobby King that are supposedly compatible with the Spectrum spread technology, and they do work. But I had one actually lock up on me while I was flying one of my airplanes, and it was a Corsair, and I think I told the story before. I was coming in for a landing, and all of a sudden I lost control. The airplane all the surfaces locked up, and the airplane started heading towards the ground, and I was panicking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it, and it kicked back on right at the last second. But that's the only issue I've had with the Spectrum radios. Now Curtis, my friend, had a DX8, which is really expensive, like a $500 or $600 radio, and he had his cut out on his drone. He was flying his drone, and he got locked out, and the drone it went into a full speed ahead, nose down attitude, flew about 40 miles an hour across the field and smashed itself into the ground, and he lost the arms and broke the legs off, and he had just bought like a $400 gimbal to hold a camera on the drone, and it ripped the gimbal off and broke it, and he's just like, man, and what it turns out is later on he found out though that the gimbal transmits on its own frequency so that you can control the gimbal from the radio, but it has like a little switch that you stick on the radio, and then it like piggybacks off of it. But what they found out is that the gimbal actually interrupts the frequencies of the drone, and that's why it locked him out. So it got confused, and the gimbal actually locked him out. So a lot of people were complaining about the same problem, and so now they fixed that. But what do you need, Evelyn? Yes. Yeah, that's fine. What's that? No, what? What's the matter? Yeah, but you guys, no spilling, okay? I just cleaned the house. They're just cleaned up here today. All right. I don't mind if my kids eat around the house, but what makes me nuts is when they leave food like on the floor and stuff. Oh, it makes me so mad. I'm just like, guys, you can't do that. It's like I came in my room today. The kids got cookies yesterday, and I came in my room today, and there's cookies all over the floor. I'm like, are you kidding? So I had to sweep it all up. Not a big deal, but it's like, guys, you can't. They just leave it. They don't clean it up or notice that it's even there. They just dump it on the floor and walk away. And I'm like, you have to clean up this mess. There are no dwarves that clean it up for me. It's, it is a mess. So Yeah, I'm back to using my Steam controller. I'm not using a steering wheel or anything anymore. I might, I don't know. Finances are getting tight now as we get into the winter, and I don't think I can justify. I kind of want to buy another of those farming simulator setups. I really like that setup. I'm so sad that it broke. And I love the way that the steering wheel felt. Like it felt right. And I like the fact that it made me drive in the tractor more. And with the new version coming out, I don't know. But if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get it with like a 2, with the longest warranty that I can get. I think 3 years is what I saw on Newegg. And honestly, I like the wheel. Isn't that funny? I like the console too, but I have my G13 now, and the G13 does everything I need it to do for the farm sim. And you know, so I don't even really need that anymore. I just need a steering wheel, really. Though I like the joystick control, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Part of me wants to run like heck, and the other part of me like really liked it and misses it, you know. And I loved it for the truck. It was great for the truck sim too. That steering wheel setup that I bought that broke. I'm thinking about buying another one and just giving it a second chance. Yeah, but this time I'm gonna buy it with like a heavy duty warranty. So if I'll just keep getting it replaced. Oh wow, that's funny. He filled up right there. Perfect. All right, so let's get out. Doot, 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 doot. Pretty soon we're going to need to make a run down to the what? What? Oh, there it is. We're going to need to make a run down to the to sell off the wheat that's in there because everything's getting full up here. That front trailer is almost full too. I'll tell you what, with these bales on the field though, this is kind of hard to drive around all this stuff. What's the matter, Mater? What's your question, matey? What's your question, buddy? What? Now he's being all shy. That wasn't like no quiet. I just told him to hold on a minute. You have to. When I'm talking, Mater, you have to wait. No, that's not the. No. It's time to go. It's time to go night night, matey. You guys played forever? Is that what you just said? Never. Never. No, not today, honey. You can play tomorrow morning, okay? Yeah, it's time for you to go to bed, honey. It's John. Don't turn this into a matter of discipline. It's time for night nights. I'll be right back, folks.